There's something very beautiful about preservation. Choosing retreat is not avoidance, it's just regulation, but it can come off as avoidance if it's not communicated effectively. I like to think of it as a conscious pause to protect your nervous system and your spirit. Me personally, I am a hermit. I always talk about me being a hermit. Not tied into my human design chart. If you know, you know. But being a hermit to me is like self regulation. And I really don't hope it comes off as me antisocial or like me not wanting to engage or talk to people. I just know I need to take a step back to like really recenter myself and my headspace and my energy. I've talked about it before, but I have like a lot, right? Traumatic like experiences, and I also have ADHD, so I can get very overstimulated very fast, like very fast. And I don't think people understand that, like especially with like having accessibility to like something so precious, rewarding, but also there are dark sides to like phones and technology. We literally are like communicating like almost every day, and that is not how like some of us were like brought up. Like, yeah, some of us would like talk to family and have intimate connections or go outside and dance and sing and play until the lights come on, signaling for us to come back in. But the way that we communicate with the concept of social media itself should be talked about and studied. One thing I do want to highlight is that like with the beauty of preservation, you're allowing yourself to like really recalibrate yourself and recognize pattern recognition, emotional digestion. And I also like to think that you can also pretty much analyze yourself from the lens of yourself, like, wait, am I tripping? And why am I tripping? And where does this stem from? I think the biggest downfall of like preservation is how it can be intertwined with silence, because we always say that silence is golden, silence is important. And it is in many aspects, but when it's like combined with trauma or being overstimulated, it's like silence can be like a closed, cold door. And I know that some people use silence as a way to assert a boundary, and I get that. But I think if there are connections that are like very close and precious to you, I think there should be some type of communication before like just a coldness of that type of preservation. Some of the actual definitions of the word of preserve is to maintain, pretty much in the original state or existing state, to retain, to also conserve. I like to think of it also as pretty much protection, to keep in the original state. And as humans, it's kind of funny because we are always elevating, we're always evolving. We're never going to be the same as we once were, even if there are certain like perspectives and ideals that we continue to hold. For example, there's a theory that energy cannot be created nor destroyed, only transformed. And I like to say that as in a way of being synonymous with like transmitting. With energy, you can't just sit in it. I mean, you can just sit in it, but how beneficial it's going to be, you really have to get that energy out and put it into something else to make for a better reality and better perspective for yourself and other people. And the other day I was reading and it made me like have a few questions. Is the way of preservation really to fully and solely avoid pain? My answer may different. I don't think it is to avoid pain, because you can still feel pain within preservation, which is why I highlighted the effects on transmuting. Because with the effects of being able to transmute, you are able to channel that energy into something else. So you're not just sitting with the pain, the thoughts, the limerage, the data that you have, the photos that you have, and you're not just in a loop. Last month, I had like watched this video on a Black woman. If I could find her name in the video, I would definitely put it in the comments. But she was talking about the effects of the chakra and how it kind of can like, trying to see my best to explain this. But she was trying to say it was like it can create like a loop effect if you're like stuck in one. Like for example, your root chakra is pretty much like literally the root. It is sincerely the start of your sense of safety and how you can naturally ground yourself. Your sacral chakra pretty much represents like your sexuality, sensuality, created like energy. And let's just say, for example, if you're dealing with like sexual trauma, then it can really conflict and balance between your root and your sacral. pretty much balancing out like, okay, like I don't feel safe. I'm not able to ground myself. I feel depleted. And then it's really hard for it to like grow to other parts of your chakras or really like make them quote unquote strong, I would say. Because your solar plexus is easily seen as your self confidence, your willpower. And if the other two chakras are not properly aligned, then it's hard for you to like feel that self confidence, especially for something as complex as abuse. And it can affect your heart chakra, like how you love, how you show up for yourself, how you show up for others, and how you see kindness. And most importantly, because I have blockages with this, shout out to my past life, but your throat chakra, it can affect how you communicate. It also can affect like how you're able to create and show up as well. And then with your third eye, it would be hard for you to attain knowledge, wisdom, and really get to a sincere place of a spiritual awakening, as it could also affect your crown chakra and the way you could fully connect with the world and the experiences it brings. So yeah, it's a lot to consider. And I like to think that a lot of things in life are connected. So you have to look through it all because life is very simplistic, but it's very complex. But yeah, the beauty of preservation. It can really lead to some really good and groundbreaking character developments within yourself. And I don't know why, but the quickest quote I could think of in my head that comes to hand with like preservation is that like God gives the battles to the strongest soldiers. Because ultimately you are preparing for war, whether it's with yourself, whether it's with the world, whether it's with your surroundings, or your journey in life. Because a word that is synonymous with war is conflict, fight, combat, and battle. But yeah, this is one of my little think pieces of my audio diary, and I hope you enjoy it.